Mike Dilley, so I'm just turning notifications off on my phone so we don't get disturbed. So yeah, we are live with Mike Dilley. We're going to talk about Mike's journey really in the last year, from, in his own words, not really doing a lot of exercise, probably a little bit frustrated with where he was health and fitness wise, to what's got him to where he is now, where recently he completed an Ironman 2.0, signed up for a marathon next year, and he's doing all these like really cool things. So we're going to go through Mike's journey, and hopefully anyone watching is going to get some takeaways and some things that they can implement, and hopefully a little bit of inspiration to show that, you know, it can be done, because Mike's literally walking the walk. All right, so let's start at the beginning, Mike. Where were you before? Actually, no, let's start. Let's do like name, age, business, and family first. Let's start there.
A bit about me. Yeah, that's cool.
So
I'm Mike Dilley. I'm 37. I'm a self-employed carpet cleaner. Wife, 4 kids. So 1 with my ex and 3 with my wife. Yeah, that's just a little bit, that bit about me.
So basically a busy man, business, family, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back to before. I think there's a chat coming in. So morning, guys. All right. Hey, Mr. Day. Nice to see you on. So yeah, let's go back to before we started working together. If you could bring, you know, me and everyone listening like up to date to like, where were you? Health, fitness. Where were you in those areas, Mike?
So before we started working together, I think that was September last year, I joined your free group. And I'd taken some inspiration from one of the guys in there, Troy. I'd seen his pictures there, and was a bit inspired with that. And I'd been in touch with Troy because I know him. So I'd started doing little things, changing my diet slightly, and started losing weight. And then once I'd lost weight, I was like, right, I really want to push on from this, which is where I got in touch with you. I liked mountain biking, but I did get tired quick doing it, but I didn't do any other sport, didn't go to the gym, no other sort of activity. I tell you what, I was thinking the other day, I always used to say to myself, I've got an active job, I don't need to go to the gym, just because I'm out and about all the time. And it's hit me this week that is like far from the truth. That's like lying to yourself.
Do you remember how you felt at that time? Because I know like it's actually quite difficult, because you get to this place now where you're feeling really good. It's sometimes quite hard to put yourself back at that place. But like, how did you feel at the time?
So at the time, I felt okay, if that makes sense. But again, I think it's sort of lying to myself, telling me I felt okay. Because once I'd started my journey, you look back and I think, wow, I was so lazy. I'd come home and just sit down with the kids, watch TV. I wouldn't do anything physical. But I think it was because, like I was saying, like in my head, I've been busy all day. I've been active. Just to walk around a lot doesn't mean I'm active.
I think one thing to look at too is like, who wants to just do okay? Yeah. You know, what does like okay even mean? Like, you know, I always believe that we should be striving for more. Like whether that's growth, health, fitness, business, relationships. Like, what does okay actually mean?
Yeah. So like, yeah, I felt okay, as in I wasn't pushing forwards, but I wasn't going backwards.
Yeah.
I wasn't particularly unhealthy, but I wouldn't say I was like improving my health. Which, like, as you get older, obviously you think you're not going to improve your health, but yeah, you can.
Yeah, we all know that's BS, right? All right, and you know, you said you was like just getting home, sitting on the sofa, like did you realize like what you were doing at the time? Was it just like, oh, I've had a busy day, this is just I've had a busy day, I don't need to exercise? Like, what was going on for you?
I just never thought about exercising. Didn't even come into my head about whether I was doing it or not. I just didn't think about it. It was the mindset of, yeah, I've been on my feet all day.
What about now? What are your thoughts now looking back?
When I finish work, I look forward to doing exercise. So to think I would come home and just sit there and eat and drink and not do any exercise, I could never do it again. I've always been sort of fairly active. Like, I don't like sitting still, but I would just sit and do something else, whether it was scroll through Facebook, watch TV, watch a film,
Yeah.
play on the PlayStation. I would do something. It's just the wrong things, if that
So
makes sense.
even a busy business owner with 4 kids can find time to exercise, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there is always time, even if it's not as much as you'd want to do. Obviously, doing the Ironman 70.3, I made a lot of time for that.
Yep. All right. Yeah, guys. We'll certainly we'll get onto that 100%. I'm curious, like from the beginning, because we've got some really good before and afters, and you're actually in the same shorts, aren't you? From a period of time, like, do you know how much weight you lost, or like amount of sort of body fat? Because there's a significant difference in those photos.
Weight wise, was 2 stone, a little over 2 stone. I was 12 or 12, 13.
Yeah.
And now I'm 11 and a half. 11.7.
Well, let's go with that then. So, because I think it's always important that people are watching this, like, what did you do?
Not 12, I was 13, 12. Because I was just nearly 14 stone. That's the heaviest I've been.
And let's look at what you did or didn't have to do, because I think that's really important. People are always like, well, what did Mike do? What didn't he have to do? Let's start with what didn't you have to do first. Like, what are some of the things maybe you thought you had to do but you didn't?
Cut nice food out is the obvious one.
Yeah,
I could still eat anything. I didn't like strictly rice and chicken all day every day, or fish cakes. Was it fish cakes and rice? The guy that was on the internet.
Yeah,
that's all he ate, wasn't it? No, I didn't have to do anything like that. It was just more about making better choices with the food. So cutting out some of the little things. For me, it was snacking. I didn't realize how much I snacked through the day. And then just changed a few little things for healthier versions of it. So like I'd have lean meat rather than just normal off the shelf meat. So just cut little bits of fat that way.
Yeah.
Save a few calories. And yeah, just counting the calories is the easiest way to do it, I would say.
So you tracking calories.
See what you eat.
Yeah.
And you sort of hold yourself accountable by looking through the app. You can see what you've eaten, and you can look at stuff and go, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. And you can just sort of see where you're going wrong. So it's easier to make sure you don't do it again in the future.
And was it hard? I think people always think it's going to be a lot harder than it is. Was it hard?
Yes and no. The first 3 weeks, I was hungry constantly. But in my life, I'd never looked at any sort of diet, never counted calories. I just ate if I was hungry. Mm-hmm. So having that little bit of, I don't want to eat crap, was hard. But it was just more of getting out of the routine, I think, of snacking. And once I got out of that, I found it very easy.
Let's go with that. What was the snack? What was the main thing that you were snacking on? Because we've got a client that for him it was like biscuits throughout the day. Like, what was yours?
Yeah, mine was cake, biscuits, and crisps.
Cake, biscuits, and crisps.
Yeah, not all at the same time, but yeah. Because we got someone in our family who makes cheesecake.
Nice.
So I probably definitely had too much cheesecake before. And biscuits with tea and coffee. They just go together.
All right, and
I haven't cut out crisps, not at all. I just pick ones that have less calories. So that's like choices comes into it.
Those choices, yeah. What was the? I think it's always important to always not just go, oh, this is easy, I can do this. And what was literally, was that for you the hardest thing? Just recognizing the snacking and just making different choices.
Well, it was the hunger, because I wasn't snacking. My body was like, well, you need to eat now, because it was used to eating.
And what did you do to help with that?
Telling me I'm hungry. Say that again.
What did you do to help with that going forwards?
Sorry, it twitched a little bit.
What helps? Because obviously you're hungry, you're eating less. What helped with that going forwards? Was it getting more protein in your diet, or just drinking more water?
Drinking water helped. The protein obviously helps, because that helps fight hunger. But being in the group with you guys, just being able to talk and say, well, what did you do when you had that? Mm-hmm. That really helped me, just give me ideas of what I could do. So that was a big help. to get over the hunger.
All right, nice. So I'm just reading a few questions off my phone here. Had a few people send in a few questions. What's your? I always think this is quite important. Like, what was like your biggest like breakthrough or shifts in mindset going through? Because I think that's really important. Like either breakthroughs, like pushing past something that was a barrier, or just having like a real shift in mindset. So what were they for you?
So I took my 4 pictures before I started losing weight. I took pictures with you, and then every week taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we were probably 4 or 5 weeks in, we were sort of comparing some pictures, and I could see the difference then next to each other, and sort of physically seeing the change. Sort of was a really big boost and like push on.
So had you not noticed it until then?
Not really. I'd noticed a little bit when we started working together because I'd already started with the food. So I could see like my stomach coming down. There's a picture of me holding a bird in one picture. And there's one of me on a training course, which I don't think I've showed anyone. And I literally look pregnant. Sort of just below my moobs.
Yeah.
My stomach just starts coming out. And yeah, it was like a pregnant belly. Even though I'd never say I was big before, and if anyone'd seen me before, they wouldn't say I was big. I just had this belly.
I think with that, it's quite a common thing for like guys though. It's like, it's where we carry our weight, and yeah, you might not be big legs, shoulders, but I think if you're carrying some belly fat, first of all, it's not good. It's not good for your health. It's around the organs, but that can have a real impact on your self-image because it's all concentrated in one area. So you're not going to feel good with your buttons feeling like they're going to undo, and you're not going to feel confident in a shirt that doesn't really fit very well. Was it affecting your confidence? Do you remember?
Yeah, definitely. I remember I was talking with my mum. I'd been in work and I'd stopped somewhere in a car park, and I was talking to my mum, and I was saying something's just not right. I just need to change something. And I didn't know what it was the worst thing. I was like, I just know I'm not happy the way I am. And I'd spoke to my wife about it, and she'd agreed, like, we need to change something. And turns out it was my mindset that was causing all the insecurities. Like, not just with me. I don't think the kids noticed it, but my wife could sort of pick up on it. And so, yeah, there was that sort of, I knew something had to change.
It's interesting that, because obviously I've spoke to hundreds of guys over the years, and it's not always knowing exactly what I like. If I could have £1 for every time a guy said to me, I just know something needs to change. I just know something needs to change. Like, I don't know exactly what that looks like or what that goal is. I just know something needs to change. Like, let's go with that. Like you said about like the mindset, like what is it that you did? Because I think mindset's like the word that everyone uses at the moment, right? And we all know it's super important. For me, it's the umbrella that overrides everything. But how did you get these changes in mindset? What did you have to do to get these shifts, would you say?
I think it was like during working with you, because it was all small little things we did while we were working. It made me sort of realize what was important to me, what I would like to keep in my life and what I wouldn't like in my life. And it was changing the things that I didn't like, just a little bit at a time, because trying to do them all at once would just be like an impossible task. So the fact that we were doing just little things at a time, and there was no pressure on me from you to do it, yeah, just sort of, it seemed natural.
And I think for me, it's like, well, I'll set a goal, and it's always important to break them down into mini goals. But I feel like once you succeed in that, it's like, well, what else can I do? And your mindset shifts, and like behavior changes, and that little bit of self-belief and confidence just goes up every time. It's like, well, I used to think I couldn't do that. Well, that was difficult. Actually, I can do that. It wasn't that hard. So like, what else can I do? Does that resonate at all?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Yeah, I remember like one day we were talking, we were picturing what I'd look like in like 10 years time. And I think I said, oh yeah, I've just signed up for my first Ironman competition. And it was like something I'd never thought about before. We were sort of just talking about what we'd do in 10 years time. Yeah. And this is sort of where the whole Ironman 70.3 came from. Because I think it was about a week or two later, they announced one in Swansea, which was like local to me. First one, 70.3 in Wales. So I said to you, that's it. I'm going to sign up for that. It's sort of with the kids as well, that one of them was doing her GCSEs and she was worried about not getting the grades. And I was like, look, you can do anything. You can do anything you want. You can always learn to do it. So along with me sort of changing how I was trying to do things and do things out of my comfort zone and teach them as well that it's okay to just try new things. I was like, I'll sign up for it and do it. And I did. I signed up. Having never swum, never ridden a road bike, and never run.
Yeah. I remember the conversation because I was like, what would you like to do? It was one of those conversations. What would you like to do? Like, dream big. What would you really like to achieve? And you was like, love to do an Ironman. And I was like, how long would it take you to get there? And you said 10 years. And I was like, no, not having that. We're bringing that forward. And then obviously the 70 point, is it 70.3, is it?
70.3, yeah.
So for people watching, it's a half Ironman, which is still fucking big and a really huge achievement. And that just basically dropped into your lap and you thought, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do your kids think?
Committed.
Yeah, that's what I say as well. Sign up. What do your kids think now? Like, because that's seeing their dad do that. Like, that's pretty fucking cool. Let's be honest. Like, what?
Yeah, it's changed like the way they look at things. Like my eldest, she started running with me, and she doesn't really like running. She doesn't like exercise, but she comes running, and she does enjoy it when she's out. She doesn't like the pain her legs have afterwards, though. But yeah, she comes running with me. Rosie, the 8-year-old, she wants to do one when she's older. She wants to do a full Ironman.
Really?
So she's got 10 years to train. Yeah, Amelia, my middle one, she thinks it's cool. She has no interest in doing any exercise. I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to want to do it now. It's like, you'll want to do something at some point.
Dude, like I say on the group calls, like for me, like wins like that are even bigger and better than when you lose a couple of pounds, because this is everyone wants to. Most people come into the program because they want to feel better. Weight loss is just the byproducts. It's like, oh, I want to drop 20 pounds. Realistically, people come because they want to feel better, and then you have the ripple effect of doing these things like an Ironman, losing some weight. But then that positivity like ripples around, your kids. And so many times I've seen guys get close to their children because maybe they're a little bit less stressed, a little bit more calm with their children. They see their dads doing some press ups and they want to join in because kids like joining in stuff, don't they?
Yeah,
so
they do
those
that.
wins to me are like have such an impact. I love seeing those wins.
Yeah, Rosie does. Well, she goes to gymnastics anyway, but she used to just practice like handstands and cartwheels. And like this morning, I walked in the kitchen. She's lying on the kitchen floor doing sit-ups and hip raises.
Love it.
She's like, because it's going to help me with gymnastics. I was like, well, yeah, it is, but you don't have to worry too much about it. I was like, you are only 8. But yeah, just like off her own back, she's gone and she's just trying to do little things to help her gymnastics.
Kids absorb what their parents do. Kids absorb. So they'll just be taking in every little action you do and every going out and doing all this exercise. They absorb that. And also, we all have some bad habits. They absorb and they see that too. So the more positivity you're bringing into the household, it can't be anything but a good thing. So, dude, that's so cool. Yeah. All right, let's I know you shared the other day you just took some time to reflect, but what have been your biggest wins? If you had to say I don't know 4 or 5 of your biggest wins in the last year.
Right, so from last year when I wasn't doing any exercise, I'd always wanted to go up Pen y Fan, which is it the 3rd tallest mountain in Wales? I know it's the tallest in the southern part of Britain, and it's like an hour away. So I'd always wanted to do that, and for some reason or another, we'd always had a reason why we couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So we'd never done it. So obviously I'd started training for Ironman by the time Father's Day come around, and that was April, I think it was, this year.
Yeah, I think so.
So my wife was like, right, for Father's Day, we're taking you out for the day. So I thought, well, I've got a 10K run in the morning. I said, I'll do that, and then we'll go out. So I went for a run, and I got back, and she was like, oh, we're going up Pen y Fan, by the way. So all the kids and my wife and me went. We sort of went to, not the traditional first time going up it trail. We went to the wrong car park, and we're going up with some of the army guys. So that was a long walk up a mountain.
Yeah.
But that was really cool because I'd wanted to do it for ages. Yeah, it was starting to get dark on the way back. So they went down the family trail, as I call it, and walked down that. And then I'd run back to the car, which took about an hour to get the car to drive to them to pick them up. So that was pretty cool and memorable.
I bet their dads are like, I bet your kids are just like, my dad's like super dad now.
They were like that. I'm so glad you went to the car and didn't make us go. I was like, it's fine. It's only an hour run.
Only an hour's run. Only an hour's run. All right. What else? What else are the biggest wins?
So yeah, beginning of May, I rode from Cardiff to Tenby, which was 107 miles, I think, something like that. Which was definitely the longest bike ride I've done, even though I'm planning on doing a longer one. But at the time, yeah, I was training for that in preparation for the Ironman because I signed up in the November. So yeah, I thought if I train for that, I'll be okay on the bike just to finish. So we did that beginning of May. End of May, I did a sprint triathlon, which is a 750 meter swim. I think it was 12 miles on the bike and a 5K run. So I did that at the end of May, give me a bit of practice and get my mindset, my head in the right place for the Ironman. So then after that, there was like a bit of a break. But during this, because I had to learn to run, I did a half marathon January, February, March, April. I missed May because of the ride and the triathlon. Did another one in June. I hurt my Achilles doing the one in June. So I didn't run much in July. So I took that fairly easy, but I could still ride the bike and I could still swim. So my training carried on. August the 7th was the Ironman. So I'd worked it out around the 8-hour mark. I was happy to finish that. You get 8.5 hours. So I was looking for 8 hours. And on the day, just did my thing, didn't think about it, got on with it. And I finished in 6 hours 45, which I was over the moon with, like over an hour what I was expecting. And my Achilles still wasn't right either. So I was really chuffed a bit to that.
And just to make a point of that, like, I think people potentially watch this and go, well, yeah, it's all right for Mike. And I'm not saying anyone needs to necessarily work towards these goals. Everyone should have their own individual goals and things they want to do. But it was literally like a year ago that you'd come home from work and you weren't doing any exercise except maybe a bike ride.
I think it was 9 months from signing up to doing it. So I had to get fit and then get Ironman fit.
Which is incredible. Again. Like, you should like to say,
a lot of time training. You basically over swimming twice a week, riding 2 or 3 times a week, and running 4 times a week, as well as going to the gym.
It's a lot of training, Mike.
It's a lot of training.
If you had to sum up like your biggest wins, like just one, or just like actually, or just maybe something for anyone that's listening, like what. Like a word of advice or like something that you've learned along the way that's really had an impact on you. Because I think it's so important for, like, if anyone does watch this, is like, well, what can I go out and do? What's going to be the thing that's going to get me moving or starting? What do you say?
One of the easiest things to keep you going on what you want to do is get a plan. Either sign up for one. Ideally, I'd say pay for one. Because if it's free, you lose the value in it. If you're paid for something, you're more likely to stick to it to get your money's worth. But yeah, any sort of running plan I do or bike plan or anything I do, because once I finish one, I'll start another one. And I sort of think, I've got to do this today. It's telling me I've got to do it. So it's easier to stick to them if you've got a plan you're meant to be following and a goal at the end of it.
100%. It's a bit like
easier. You don't lose that interest in it.
Yeah, and also like it's going to be specific to you, so it's important to get something specific to you. And I think of it like this: imagine going on a car journey and you haven't got a sat nav and you're just hoping to get there, or you're going in on a boat and there's no like actual destination. You've got no rudder. You're just kind of hoping to get there at some point. You're never going to get there. Like, and it's people train for years and years and years, and I speak to people quite often. They're like, oh, I've never trained towards a plan. Never had a plan for me. Like, if you run a business, you'd never do that. No. Your business would close within 6 months probably. But when it comes to our health and fitness, we don't always get a plan to follow. And it almost like blows my mind. The first thing I did when I went to the gym, this was like when I was like 19, so a long time ago, I had no idea what I was doing. So I got a plan.
Yeah,
I still didn't really know too much about what I was doing, but it certainly helped, I think that's really key. All right, I feel like we're almost like up to date to where we are now. Like, what are the things you got plans? Remind me of a couple of things you got plans like next year. What's going on?
So next year I've got a marathon planned in April. So I've never run a marathon, so I want to do one of them. I'm doing Ironman 70.3 again in August, half marathon in October. But that's it for next year at the minute. That may change.
Mike, that'll change. There's no new like I do that'll change. And
this month we went at Penavan. We did.
Yeah.
With a few of the guys in the group. And then Halloween, my little boy, he with my ex, they lost a baby 8 years ago. So he phoned me like 2 weeks before and went, "Can we go up Snowdon to raise money for SANS, which is the Stillborn and Neonatal Death Charity?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's do that." So we went up. We left 4:00 in the morning, Monday just gone, to go up for sunrise. So we did that this week, which I thought was cool for him as well, because he wanted to do something to raise money for a charity to help them, but he was like willing to go out of his way and go up Snowdon, which is pretty insane.
And he also looked to you, Mike, because he knew you were the guy that would.
He knew I'd go with him, yeah.
Yeah.
So and then my daughter Jazz, she came with me as well, and about 2/3 of the way up, like all her muscles started cramping in her legs, and she got 2 blisters on her feet, and she was just in pain. And she realised if she was walking forwards, her shoes and things were rubbing, but going backwards, she'd use different muscles in her legs, and her heels didn't rub. So she walked 1/3 of the way backwards up the mountain. She was like, "He's got to get to the top. We can't turn around." So she walked backwards up, and then downhill. It was a bit easier for her, and she could walk fine downhill. So she did that. So I was super proud of her for that.
Yeah, mate. Seriously, like I know we spoke Tuesday. Like these things are like so impactful for your kids, because you can always bring them back to like, do you remember that time when you just climbed the mountain and you had blisters, but you didn't give up?
Yeah.
So it's something to
reference.
Said
this when we were walking it as well. I was like, "You'll never forget this." So I was like, walking up it is one thing, but doing it through the pain is something else.
Yeah, she'll literally never forget that, and that's things like that again. Like I love those wins. I think they're huge. All right, let's look at, like, obviously we finished working together 1-to-1. What was that, like 9 months ago, a year ago now?
It was about January time, wasn't it? It was after Christmas, so I think it was.
All right, so maybe about 9 months ago then, roughly. So and now you're obviously in the group with the guys. Like, how does that help you? I don't know, like keep you accountable, keep you striving forwards. How is it being in that environment?
I love it. I think I remember saying to you when we were doing our 1-to-1s, I really enjoy having that group call. Even just saying, "Yeah, look what I've done this week." And I know recently we've started I probably shouldn't have done that this week. But just having that own up and be like, "Yeah, I made a mistake." It helps you moving forwards to not do them, because everyone makes mistakes and they're normal. But just sort of accepting it and knowing that it's okay. It helps with your head. It stops you going like a bit insane, thinking you can only do great things. But then having the great things as well and saying, "Yeah, I've done these cool things. They make me feel good this week," like the wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really supportive mentally. Like, women talk a lot and they're more open than blokes.
Yeah.
And like our group's like our safe space. You can just talk and say what you want and you feel good afterwards.
Yeah, nice. Guys, just if you are watching this, you're on or watching the replay, just to give us some context, what we do in the group was always look at like a minimum of 3 wins per week. Health, fitness, business, career, any 3 wins, kids, family, any 3 wins that you want to like really own. We also have a space where you can like ask any questions or anything, help needed, biggest challenge. And then Mike put it in a more polite way, but I called it the biggest fuck up. So you share your biggest fuck up for that week and we just have an open talk about it. I think it's really powerful because there'll always be like a fuck up. We all do it, but it's like, well, just own it and you just move forward. And then that means all the other guys share theirs as well. And I think, again, it's quite a new thing we've implemented, but I think it's really powerful to say, yeah, do you know what? I fucked up here. I don't know. I drank too much. I drank too much, or I ate too many sweets for Halloween. And it's like, no, it's all good. It's fine. Just draw a line, move forwards. We all have them. And I think that's important to show we all have them. And the other point you make, Mike, and this is what's important to me, is like that safe space for men to talk, and it's okay. There's no judgment.
Yeah, it definitely is a safe space. You can not feel guilty about it.
How does that feel for you, having that?
Oh, good. Yeah, like if something's going wrong in the week, and not let it build up, not let it get you. You know that you can talk about it with the other guys who have the same mindset. Yeah, it's easing. I think easing is the word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, relaxed and
all right. We're going to get down to the last few questions. So I think we've got a good understanding of what you've done, what your journey's been, and it's been, to be honest, it's been like incredible. I remember our first few calls. I was like, I feel like I can push this guy. I saw like a real good amount of potential. I was like, right, I really feel like I can push Mike and see. It's like what can I get him to like work towards? I can get, and I think I always like to show a path or plant some seeds. You fucking opened up the door and walked through it, basically, like with real action. Like, you know what I mean? I always talk about stepping up. Like, you really stepped into that space, that path. What like I just like I said, I want to just wrap up last few things. Like, if anyone is watching this, they've been following my stuff for a while, they've seen, you know, what you guys have been doing, like, and now I don't know, they're just like, what? First thing I want to say is, like, what stops someone from reaching out, do you think? Because I think you'd seen my stuff for a while, you'd seen Troy. Like, what is it that stops men, especially, from reaching out, even though they, like you said earlier, I knew I had to do something? What is it that stops men, do you think?
Pride, fear, a lot of things that men have this image of themselves that they should do these things. They shouldn't have to ask for help for stuff. Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah, pride, I think, is probably one of the big ones.
But then you come into the program, and who does the changes?
Well, you do it yourself. Yeah, like the bits of work that we do, just the little things we talked about each week, and it just sort of something clicks in your head that you're like, oh, I could do that. I might try that. You know, what have we got to lose?
I think that comes down from a raise in self-esteem and confidence, because we see it in business owners. They are they're not risk adverse. So I think when you're in a good place, like mentally, you're much more willing to take that risk. And if something doesn't go right, it's never a failure. It's like, it's a lesson. Whereas I think if you're struggling with confidence and self-esteem, it could be you try something, it doesn't work, you see it as a failure. Oh, I won't do that again. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Rather than seeing it as a learning opportunity to, well, it didn't work, but how can I do it differently to make it work?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, not just business, it's everything in life, isn't it?
You can't get the
if
growth.
You get up and try and go and run a half marathon and you've never run it, it ain't going to work. You're not going to do it. But if you take the little steps and build up like the miles, then you can do it, which I've done.
I think my battery might be going. I think we're good. All right, and then, like I said, last couple of questions. This has been really cool, by the way, and thank you for being like open and jumping on and talking about your journey. Hoping the guys that are watching this have taken a lot from it. So what would you say to someone that is thinking about either like working with me or working with a coach, or just listening to that noise, that voice, like that says I need to make a change? What would you say to anyone?
Well, if you don't talk to anyone and you just keep listening to the voice, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to make a change. If you just speak to someone, even if it's like 5-10 minute conversation, just a little bit to point you in the right direction starts the change, and then trust the process. I think I've said that to a few people, but just trust it, even if you don't think it's working.
Yeah.
Just keep going with it. And then when you look back, that's when you see the change. So yeah, just speak to someone, because what's the worst that's going to happen? You stay exactly where you are. You're not going to go backwards for having a chat with someone.
All right, we just got Craig just saying nice work, men, inspiring stuff. All right, let's I always, because I do this quite a bit, I normally interview one of my friends, Mike, who's an awesome coach, his clients. And I always like to ask if is there anything you would like to add, or is there anything you don't feel like we've covered, anything that I've not necessarily asked you? So I've been on this side too, and I felt like, oh, actually, there's a couple of things that I could have talked about. So is there anything that you'd like to add or that we haven't covered?
No, I don't think so. The best sort of thing that I can say is, if you're not going to do anything, you're not going to improve, you're not going to change anything at all. I know for me, it's changed my life. I know I'll always do exercise, not necessarily triathlons forever, but I've got no plan on stopping them anytime soon. But yeah, just my mental health is better. I listen to a lot of audiobooks when I run. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of runners listen to music. I listen to audiobooks. They help as well as the group chats and everything. I know we all listen to the audiobooks in the chats. So yeah, they're really good. Just little things that will push you forwards is what we've got to lose from it.
Nice. All right. As I always ask this on our one-to-ones and sometimes on our group calls, depends where that's gone. Like, what's been your biggest takeaway from, let's just go like the whole period, the whole journey, the last year? What's been your biggest takeaway?
Realizing what I'm capable of. And I now know personally myself, and anyone as well, can learn to do anything. And you shouldn't let anyone tell you can't do it. There's a few things like with the kids, they're like, oh, I'd like to do this, and I've got no idea how to do it. I'm like, all right, we'll just learn how to do it.
Nice.
If we don't do it, then we don't do it. But you can learn how to do it. It just takes practice and time. Yeah, I believe I can learn anything. All
right, man. I think we've covered quite a lot there. I'm hoping that people that have watched this have definitely got some takeaways to take forward, some learning, some breakthroughs, and yeah, maybe this is something that just, you know, like you listen to something and it can just inspire you just to make some changes. One thing I'd say is that for anyone watching is the first thing for me is just like action, just any form of action that moves you forward, whether that's a walk, a healthy breakfast, going to the gym for the first time. The key for me is like always to just take that action. That might be the little thing that goes, yeah, why didn't I do this earlier? And exercise for me is so important, like mood, endorphins that kick in, you know. It's the most underrated form of therapy that you can get you can pretty much get for free. Just go for a walk or anything, you know, and you'll always feel better. So that'd be my takeaway. If anyone's watching, it's like, I don't know where to start. It's like, just start. Would you agree?
Yeah, just try it. Exercise is addictive as well. And if you're going to be addicted to something, then exercise ain't a bad thing.
I agree. All right, dude. Thank you very much for jumping on. Guys, cool. If you've got any thoughts and feedback, please post in the comments. And obviously, me and Mike really appreciate it. But yeah, and if there's anything that resonates or like anything you want to add or ask me or Mike, then put it in the comments. Nice one, Mike. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you on the group call tonight.
Yeah, cool.
Cheers, man. Bye.
Bye.